you don't seem like a woe is me, the music industry is dead kind of guy.
Ugh.
Do you have a perspective on where you think the business side of it might be going?
Well, yeah, I mean, the business has exploded, and there's a real big misunderstanding, I think, in the media. So the misunderstanding has been they followed what I will call recorded music revenues, and they followed the 2002 decline in CD sales, as if that was the uh, sole metric that you would use to see where music is going as far as being an industry. Now, the most recent statistics, global statistics on music, we're back up recording revenues now are back up to I think 22 to or 24 million, 24 billion annually. I think in 2018. So
Internationally?
we were at yes, we
Okay.
were at oh that could be U.S. figures.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. But to contrast that, that's only I think 4 billion shy of the peak of recorded music sales.
Really?
So we're very yeah, we're on the cusp. Like another few years, the revenues are going to supersede the levels that we saw in 2002.
Where's that coming from?
Mainly streaming right now. So streaming revenues have increased more dramatically than anything else.
All you hear is the opposite being true, that there is
Well,
no
you're not
revenue.
listening to the right people.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
the data speaks otherwise.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So,
So what are you hearing? And let me
well, it's
respond to that.
the first thing that you hear in any sort of media about the music industry is that streaming is killing revenue, that
Mhm.
artists can't make any money off of
Mhm.
Spotify and Apple Music and all of that stuff, and that the only real way to make any money in music now, which is actually I think is a good thing, is touring and
Mhm.
getting out there.
So this is the funny thing because to talk about these arguments and they're complicated arguments, like I don't disagree with what you just said.
Right.
So I can use a specific artist as an example and say, oh well, they were cresting along like this, and then all of a sudden, we went into the streaming model. They have no revenue anymore, you know, and I can use arguments that go the other way.
Right.
And generally, the argument is this: it's an era-based argument. So if I take, the cover of uh, Forbes magazine, and I look at it and I go, okay, so now we've got in 2017 or 18, I'm not sure which, you've got, Justin Bieber, Drake, and The Weeknd, who all made, according to those
Right.
reports,
Right.
right, in brackets,
Mhm.
90 million bucks in 1 year each. Well, that's unprecedented. Like you can take, the biggest artists in Canada, and lump them all together, over in the 80s,
And they didn't make 90
take
million
us and
together.
throw us in with any other name that pops into your head, put them all in one wheelbarrow, and never made $90 million in 1 year, much less 270 million.
Right.
And so your answer on the live side, you're absolutely right. Sell out an arena in 1985, ticket price is $20. The band's going to walk out with, $200,000, let's say. That same arena show now, the band's going to walk out with 7, 8, 9, a million five. Some corporate gigs pay $2 million for. I'm talking for international artists.
Mm-hmm.
Those jobs were never there, and those grosses were never there because those ticket prices were never there. There was also never a corporate market of any size. Now, you go to a big convention, they hire Fleetwood Mac and pay them $2.5 million.
Right.
It's a whole different business.
But that can be true for people like Fleetwood Mac that have a huge sort of history behind them. But what about the new up and comers? And I mean, listen, Drake's name has come up, and we can call him a new up and comer, right? Within the last decade or whatever. Now he's being.
Yeah.
I think they're holding him responsible for something like 8% of Toronto's revenue or something, like some ridiculous.
Good for Drake,
right? Like some grand number like that. But like, talk to me about the young kids that you see coming through. Do you think that they still have, because the other side of the argument that I hear is that while those kids have access to sort of build their audience, they're sort of buried in the noise now.
Well, okay. Again, two-sided argument. I look at it this way: if you suck, you suck. right?
Right.
So bands have sucked from back in the days of yore, as far as you can see in the rearview mirror, and there's still bands that suck.
Right.
So no system is going to reward poor musicianship or, songs that don't resonate with people, right? And that's not something the system's doing to them. They need to really realize you shouldn't be in this business. So as much as music's been democratized, so now all of a sudden we've gone, okay, the input is this big, right? So now what would have happened is there would have been this separation of grain and chaff back here before digital.
Right.
And we would never have listened to those records because those records would never have been made. Now, everyone who's, grandma thinks I'm good is out there, as a purveyor of all this amazing art that's actually terrible. So you have that as contrasted with those that are good who now have a much bigger delivery system. They have a distribution system that's global and that will not hold them back. And the speed with which they can build their audience is incredible. Like I look back and I say, well, I wish Triumph was born now. We could start over again, because instead of exploding regionally, like going across the border into Illinois and say we broke Chicago. Well, now you've still got to deal with Champaign, Illinois, and you've got to, we're going to get over into Indiana and hit Terre Haute, and we're going to do. No, you're going bang like this. You're hitting. You can hit a home run that isn't just a 4-bagger. You can go around the baseball diamond about 5 times if you really, have that magic moment. You couldn't do that, before the global digital dissemination of music. It was impossible.
I know.
Don't forget you can subscribe to our full audio episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your audio podcasts. The full episodes, highlights, and our live off-the-floor performance videos can be found at our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the AVB Podcast. Of course, you'll find links to our incredible sponsors and this week's guest in the description below. The AVB Podcast is part of the Border City Network. Find more great content at bordercitynetwork.com. See you next time, folks. Bye-bye.